to the Most High Yahweh. Yahweh is the name of the Heavenly Father, which the world calls God. And Yahweh Shah is the name of his only begotten Son, who the world only calls Jesus Christ. I want to give a strong shalom to the mighty men that's going out there laboring, presenting their bodies as a living sacrifice, and doing all things, waking up the lost sheep of the house of Israel, and during the elements, the 100-degree weathers, the freezing below coast, and everything that's trying to hinder the work of the Most High. Shalom. I want to give another shalom to the mighty Aqua, the sisters that are married and unmarried, being teachers of good things, tender, delicate, and on fire for the Most High. I want to give another strong shalom to all the mighty teenagers and children in this truth as well, doing all they can to make their calling election sure in the last days. Shalom, right? Shalom to Denise Delifus, right? And Ancients New. Why don't we? Shalom. And shalom to everybody tuning in to the live stream. All right. And the topic of this cold cut is, right, thoughts and meditations in these last days. All right. Feast of Tabernacles edition. All right. Thoughts and meditations in these last days. Because your mind is one of the most powerful things that the Most High has gave you, man. And if you don't have a clean, sound mind and meditating in the law of the Most High, then you're gonna be jammed up, right? So Most High willing, everybody is having a beautiful Feast of Tabernacles. They out there in the elements, in the wilderness, thinking how our forefathers dwelt in booths in time past and how they were pilgrims on the earth, all right? So I want to actually kick it off with this precept, right? Let me kick it off with this precept. Let's go to the book of Psalms, chapter 119. All right, so we going over thoughts and meditations in these last days. Because a lot of women and men, their thought process is not where it's supposed to be right now. All right, their mind is on their job. Their mind is on the things of this world. All right, their mind is caught up on foolishness. And it's the Feast of Tabernacles, man. Your thought process should be in the law and the Most High and thinking about all the accounts of our forefathers and how they dwelt as pilgrims on the earth. And they was in the wilderness. So this is Psalms chapter 119 and verse number 15. I'm going to kick it off with this precept. It's the book of Psalms chapter 119 and verse 15. It reads, it says, it says, I will meditate in thy precepts and have respect unto thy ways. All right, so King David said, I'm going to meditate in the precepts. Now, a lot of people in this world, they have a misconception of what meditation is. A lot of people think meditation is you over there in China with the Buddhas and you like this and you say, right, That's not meditation, man. A lot of people think meditation is just listening to music and then they crisscross applesauce looking at the sun. Those are all misconceptions of what true meditation is, right? True meditation is you thinking upon the laws, statutes, and commandments of the Most High. That's what true meditation is. Because when you're meditating, you're thinking upon something. What are you thinking on? You're thinking on the precepts. You're thinking on all of the accounts. You're thinking on the things in the past that the Most High has written, pursuing to Romans chapter 15 and 4. So don't let the so-called white man in this world give you a false misconception of what meditation is, man. All meditation is just meditating upon the laws of the Most High. That's it. It's not an in-depth breakdown or a pre-calculus equation or y equals mx plus b. It's not that deep, man. But the so-called white man in these other nations, they try to change everything around. But true meditation is you meditating upon the laws of the Most High. And you have to be meditating, especially in the days that we're approaching. You got a lot of women, you don't even meditate, man. You just go to work, go home, do what you got to do, and then do it all over again. You don't have no time to yourself to be able to meditate, man. Likewise with you men. You damn doing your own hobbies. You watching Netflix, then you go to work, then you eat, then you go to sleep. There's no meditation being done. Meditation is a key part for us as Israelites. All of our forefathers, they meditated on the laws of the Most High. And not only that, it's the Feast of Tabernacles, man. So you should be out there amongst the elements, right? Whether that's a camping ground, and you might be in the wilderness. You have to be meditating on the laws of the Most High. Right? Let's go to Genesis chapter 24. Right? Let's go to the book of Genesis chapter 24. You got a lot of men talking about I don't want to meditate. That's not really my thing. Right? So the brother, he down watching Netflix in his damn tent. When he's really supposed to be outside observing the works of the Most High, being inclined into nature. And you're not gonna have Feast of Tabernacles is like a little glimpse of what's finna come on the earth, man. You might not have your home, right? You might have to kill some animals. You might have to go fishing, get a fish with fins and scales on it, cook it, and that's your meal. It's not gonna be no more DoorDash. So a lot of you men and women, you have to get your thought process together and stop letting this world clog up your mind and you don't know what's going on. All right, this is the book of Genesis chapter 24 and verse number 63. Right, it's the book of Genesis chapter 24 and 63. It says, and Isaac went out to meditate in the field at the eventide. Right, so Isaac was meditating. What do you think Isaac was meditating on? Was he meditating on foolishness? You got certain brothers saying, I think a brother actually said this. Isaac was out there playing Connect 4, man. That's off. When it says Isaac was meditating in the field, he was thinking about the Most High, man. We don't know what he was thinking about, but we know it's the Most High. Why? Because we know what true meditation is. So Isaac was out there meditating. All right? And if you in the wilderness for the Feast of Tabernacles, you need to be out there meditating. Where you walking, you might be on a campground, you might go through the trails, right? You might be amongst the trees. And you got to open up your Bible and start thinking about the precepts, thinking about the things to come. You think it's people right now, they at their job trying to put in 16 hours a day. They're not thinking about the Most High. They're not even inclined into nature. Their mind is so industrial, it don't make no sense, man. And you got certain women and men, they actually out there amongst the elements. Right, Salaki for the win. But they actually amongst the elements. They amongst the trees. Right? They see the green grass. They not on a phone all day. Right? You gotta watch out for being on your phone or that phone all day spirit. You're just on TikTok. You're not being none amongst the elements. Your mind is jammed up. Why? Because you're not meditating, man. So you gotta be amongst the elements. You gotta be. Isaac was amongst the elements. He was in the field. He wasn't in his house all day, or he wasn't in his tent all day. No, he got out of his tent. He went out and meditated. It says, I'm gonna read that again. Genesis 24:63. And Isaac went out to the field, went out to meditate in the field at the eventide. And when he lifted up his eyes, he saw, and behold, the camels were coming. See that? And Rebecca was coming. Ultimately, so again, you have to have meditation. If you do not have meditation, if you're not taking time out your day to meditate on the laws of the Most High, especially during the Feast of Tabernacles, I mean, you're going to be jammed up. Let's go to the book of, let me get this in, let's see. Let me get this in Sirach, chapter 38. Right, 38, and verse number 24. And it reads, bear with me. It says, Sirach chapter 38, of a learned man cometh by opportunity of leisure, and he that hath little business shall become wise. What does it mean by the wisdom of a learned man cometh by opportunity of leisure? Meaning a man that doesn't have that much time, he's going to become wise, man. You see these men now that have some type of wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. You think they got that if they was going to work 24/7? If they was on their phone 24/7? If they was occupied on their children all the time in the ways of this world? No, the way those men, they had to spend some type of time obtaining that. Wisdom don't just come overnight. A lot of us, how do you get wisdom? How do you do this? Well, the Lord said, the wisdom of a learned man cometh by opportunity of leisure. And he that have little business shall become wise. So the more time free time you have to yourselves. Now I know it's hard because brothers have to work, women have to work, you have to take care of the children, guide the households, and it could be rough. Nevertheless, you always want to make time to meditate to the Most High, to think upon the precepts. Because if you're not, your understanding is going to be jacked up. Eventually going to end up going off, man. So guess what? The more little business that you have, that's the more time you can use to become wise. That's why you see certain brothers with the wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. Hey, certain brothers might say, hey, I was only working 2 days out the week. And they use that other time to become wise, man. So what should you be doing on the Feast of Tabernacles? You should be using that time. I know certain brothers, they got a whole week off. Certain women, they might have had 3 days off from their job, etc. And you have to use this time while you're amongst the wilderness to become wise on the other side. To be familiar. It's a lot of things you might not know. You have to come familiar with that, man. And stop being a robot. Stop being what the society wants you to be. And get back to the original state, man. See, 2,500 years ago, they didn't have cell phones. They didn't have laptops. They didn't have stove tops. They didn't have cars. They was literally outside all day, man. And that might be you when you was a kid, man. We didn't have, you think we had all these cell phones when we was a kid? No, man, we was outside playing. And you could tell the difference between the child that was outside playing and versus the children now, man. The children now, they don't have no common knowledge. They're not even wise. They're wise to do evil. All right? And they're dumbed down. So we have to be outside amongst the elements and in the field. But the point is, the Lord said, he that have little business shall become wise. So you have to use the time that you have amongst his Feast of Tabernacles to make sure you get your thought process together, man. Right? Let's go to Psalms chapter 1 and 1. Let's go to the classic. Right, let's go to the book of Psalms chapter 1 and 1. Let's go to the classic. Let's see what King David said. Right? It's the book of Psalms chapter 1 and verse 1. It says what? It says, but his delight is in the law of the Lord. Talking about a righteous, godly man. It says, and in his law doth he meditate day and night. You have to ask yourself, are you meditating in the laws day and night? If you're not meditating in the laws day and night, I don't know what's wrong with you, man. Right? You need to get yourself together. You need to get your priorities straightened out, man. If you're not meditating day and night in the laws of the Most High, you're going off. We're just going to say that right now. Because what else are you thinking about? Right? You have to be thinking about something else if you're not thinking about the laws of God. What else are you thinking about? Thinking about your wife. You might be thinking about another woman, man. Right? You women, you thinking about foolishness, folly, things that don't have no profit. If you're not thinking about the law of the Most High, you are completely going off, man. You commanded to meditate in the law day and night, man. That's how you make your ways prosperous. That's Joshua 1:8. A lot of brothers say, dang, why is this happening to me? Man, why is this spirit on me? Woman saying, why am I dealing with this? Well, one of the keys is you're not meditating on the laws of the Most High. Because if you was meditating it and you thinking it, next you know, that's going to become your actions. Let's get that in Proverbs chapter 27 first. Before we go to that. Well, actually, let's go to Proverbs chapter 23 and 7. This Proverbs 23 and 7, quick precept. It says, for as he thinketh in his heart, so is he. So whatever you thinking in your mind, your action is going to determine what you're thinking. So if you're thinking about nothing but covetousness and filthy lucre, the Lord is going to give you over to that. But if you're thinking about righteousness, you're thinking how our forefathers dwelt in booths and tents, how they were pilgrims, how they had to be amongst the beasts of the field. Hey, the Most High is going to give you over to those thoughts. He's going to put you in the spirit, man. You thinking about his commandments, his laws, how much faith you got to have. You know how much faith you gotta have to live in a wilderness where all hells break loose? Again, you got wild beasts out here, man. You got coyotes, right? And we seen this weekend we seen a coyote, man. You got foxes out here. You have to know how to deal and operate according to the scriptures. A man with no faith, if he sees a coyote, he might run. If a man see a pack of coyotes, Jake is gonna run, right? He not even knowing that them coyotes, if you run, they see you as a threat and they gonna chase you and hawk you down, man. So you having that faith in the Most High, and you could be so confident, hey, you could scare them coyotes away. All right. And the Lord said in Sirach 17:1 that the Most High put the fear of beasts upon man, with the fear of man upon the beast, man. So these beasts, technically, the Most High had that fear of man on them. That's why you see even squirrels, they might see you, they run away. Certain beasts still have that fear of man on it. Nevertheless, you have to be meditating in the laws of the Most High. All right, let's finish this out in Psalms. All right. Let's finish this out in the book of Psalms, the first chapter. This is Psalms chapter 1 and verse number 3. It says, and he shall be like a tree planted by rivers of water, that bringeth forth fruit in his season. His leaf shall not wither, and whatsoever he doeth shall prosper. See that? So whatever you doing, if you meditating day and night on the laws of the Most High, the Lord is going to cause you to bear fruit. He's going to give you an increase. Next, you know, now you bring in other men and women into the truth. And the Lord seeing that fruit, he's gonna reward you according to that. And whatever you do, you're going to prosper. Why? Because you thinking about the Most High. His laws is in your mind, man. The Most High is actually with you. All right, let's go to Psalms chapter 37. Let's go to the book of Psalms chapter 37. So you have to ask yourself, are you meditative? This Psalms chapter 30, 37 and 30. All right. It's the book of Psalms chapter 37 and verse number 30. It says, the mouth of the righteous speaketh wisdom. His tongue talketh of judgment. The law of God is in his heart. None of his steps shall slide. So you have to ask yourself, is the law of the Most High in your heart? And that's not literal. It's not literally talking about you put the commandments in your heart. Your heart equals your mind. So you have to ask yourself, is the Most High's laws, statutes, commandments truly in your mind, man? When I mean in there, you thinking about it constantly. While you at work, while you in the wilderness, while you at the Feast of Tabernacles, while you with brothers and sisters around you. A lot of men, you got brothers and sisters around you, you think that's a go ticket to not think about the laws of God. No, you might be around brothers and sisters in the truth. You still have to have the law of God in your heart, man. All right? And your woman should be meditating as well. You shouldn't just be a man and you meditating, but your woman not meditate. No, y'all should chiefly meditate together, man, as one and be on one accord. All of this ties in to having your thought process corrected and meditating upon the works of the Most High. Let's go to the book of Psalms, chapter 63. All right. Let's go to the book of Psalms, chapter 63, and verse number 6. This Psalm, chapter 63 and 6, it says, when I remember thee upon my bed and meditate on thee in the night watches. So David said, when I'm going to sleep, I'm meditating on the law of the Most High in the night watches. And when you read that in a different translation, ultimately David is saying, hey, I'm staying up all night just so I can meditate in the night, Lord. A lot of brothers, you stand up, that woman, you stand up meditating on the laws of God. When you go to sleep, you having dreams about breaking down scriptures, right? You brothers probably know what I'm talking about. You probably had a dream, you breaking down the scriptures, right? You thinking about the precepts while you sleep. Hey, that's one of the best feelings on earth, man. But yeah, Jake, soon as he get in the house, he kicking off his shoes, down pushing this recliner seat up, and he going to sleep, man. without even thinking about the Lord. And you got to be in love in this truth, man. You can't stop thinking about the Most High. You can't stop thinking about his works. All of this is a part of meditation. I'm going to get one more precept on the meditation. Are we not going to get too many, but I want to get a couple more. Let's go to Psalms chapter 119 and 148. All right. Psalms chapter 119, all right, and verse number 148. It reads, it says, my eyes prevent the night watches, that I may meditate in thy word. So again, David is saying his eyes prevent the night watches. What is the night watches? That's the night time, man. That's when it's dark outside. So he's stopping his eyes from going to sleep during the night watches, just so he can meditate upon, just to meditate on the law or the laws of the Most High. Can you actually say you going hard, man? Hey, David was going hard. David, he was in the wilderness, man. Right? He had to flee from King Saul. He was in the wilderness. So these are all things that our forefathers have done, being amongst the elements, man. They were meditating in the word of the Lord. Let's go to Psalms chapter 77 and 12. All right, let's go to the book of Psalms chapter 77 and verse number 12. So while you out here, majority of the brothers, you still should be keeping the Feast of Tabernacles. It doesn't end to the 15th. Nevertheless, while you at the Feast of Tabernacles, you should be using this time to meditate in the law of the Most High and to zone out and don't think about your work. Don't think about your kids, your children. You should be thinking about the Most High and everything he has done for you and everything pertaining to the Feast of Tabernacles. There's so many things, man. I mean, literally. Let me get this precept. This Psalm 77 and 12. I will meditate also of thy word. Meditation is obviously meditating on the law of the Most High, but you could be meditating on the works of the Lord. All right? Meditation is just not going over Leviticus. You're going on Revelation. I mean, that's beautiful, but you want to meditate on the Lord's works. What are his works? His creation. The trees, man. You want to meditate on the trees, right? The beast. And you want to meditate how bright the sun is, man. And link it up with the precepts. Link that up with Sirach chapter 43. You meditating on a damn moon when it's a full moon and there's no clouds and it's nothing but stars in the sky. You should be thinking like, dang, that's cold, man. Then you linking it up with the precepts. That's meditating in the works of the Lord. What is his works? His creation, man. The elements, the wind, the birds, the bees, the different beasts of the field. David was meditating on that. You should be joyous after you see a beautiful work. Hey, I seen the moon like 2 days ago. I said, that's beautiful, man. You might see a fly, and you saying, hey, that's deep. I mean, I was just meditating last night with a brother. We meditating on the different beasts of the field, man, and different attributes that they have. How raccoons, they can see, they got that extra night vision. If you put light on their eyes, their eyes glow up in the dark. How they could climb trees and be up there. And you got to be a zoologist in this thing. All of this is meditating on the creation and the works of the Most High. All right, let's go to Sirach. Let's go to the book of Sirach, chapter 43. Let's go to the book of Sirach, or Ecclesiasticus in the Apocrypha, chapter 43. This Sirach, chapter 43, and verse 27. This Sirach 43 and 27. It says, we may speak much and yet come short. Wherefore in some he is all. Because we could talk about the work. Hey, I could talk about the works of the Lord all day. non-stop. So we may speak much, but yet come short. Because, I mean, it's things that man has not even experienced, let alone even seen, man. So we still gonna come short at the end of the day. It says, it says, wherefore in some he is all. How shall we be able to magnify him? For he is great above all his works. See that? So we can speak much about the works of the Most High, but at the end of the day, we gonna come short, man. Why? Because he's great above all his works. The things that he do is beyond the comprehension skills of man sometimes. Unless the spirit is on you for you to be able to comprehend that. Let's go to Psalm chapter 40 and 5. Right? So brothers have to get their mind right, man. Because when all hell breaks loose and you're not in tune, and you don't have no survival skills, you don't know nothing about no beast, according to the law, you don't know nothing. You just don't know nothing. You don't have no wisdom because you wasn't on fire. You was always caught up in your job. You wasn't studying. And you get out here, first-hand experience, that's not a good, you might not make it. Right? You just might not make it. Because you used this time that you had for naught, man. You got a lot of brothers, they actually abusing the Feast of Tabernacles right now. Right? They're abusing the Feast of Tabernacles. Let's go to the book of Psalms, chapter 40. It's the book of Psalms, chapter 40 and 5. Many, O Lord, my God, are thy wonderful works, which thou hast done. Thy thoughts which are toward us, they cannot be reckoned up in order. If I would declare and speak of them, they are more than there can be numbered. So David said, hey, Lord, your works are wonderful, man. If you see a way a hummingbird flaps his wings, I mean, that's so unique. How can man create something like that? The thing is, he can't, man. So David said the works of the Most High is wonderful and deep. Paul said the same thing when you read Romans chapter 11 and 33. And he said we can't even talk about all of them. They're more that can be numbered. So brothers and sisters in these last days, you have to have meditation in the Most High. All right. Now, let's go to the book of Luke. I'm going to get this precept in Luke chapter 4. Dealing with the wilderness. All right. Again, this is thoughts and meditations in the last days. Feast of Tabernacles edition. All right. So while you out here, you should be thinking how in the future you might be. This is where you might be at, man. You might literally be out here as a pilgrim on the earth. That's 2nd Ezra chapter 16 and 40. Let's get that real fast. All right. 2nd Ezra chapter 16 and 40. Now our forefathers, they had a choice to be a pilgrim or not. They really had a choice. In the times to come, because ultimately Abraham had to do what the Most High told him to do. Nevertheless, after he settled down, I mean, when he was with Lot, he could have chilled off. He could have chilled back, enjoyed the fruit of his labor. Right? You coming into the times where you're going to be forced to be a pilgrim. All right? Again, you're coming into the times you're going to be forced to be a pilgrim. You're going to be forced. Right now, you're not forced, man. You could kind of go camping amongst the camping grounds if you want. Nobody's going to grab you up and bring you to the wilderness amongst the beasts of the field. No, you have a choice right now. But the time is coming where you're not going to have a choice. So knowing you're not going to have a choice, this is what's going to be. You have to build up and stock up on as much faith as you can, man. All right. This is the book of 2nd Ezra, chapter 16 and 40. O my people, hear my word. Make you ready to the battle. Because on another fold, when you out here, this is a battle, man. A spiritual battle, a physical battle. Mentally, you have to make yourself prepared. It says what? And in those evils, be even as pilgrims upon the earth. What is a pilgrim? That's somebody that's picked up and on the move, man. He's on the go. Esau even tell you about the pilgrims that came over here from England, man, trying to escape and get independence, right? So we're going to be pilgrims, how? Upon the earth when the evils come. So while you on the Feast of Tabernacles, you want to paint the picture, man. I mean, you literally out here. You want to get in that thing, man. As much as you can. You have to visualize yourself and see yourself one day. Am I able to do this consistently? All right. Are you able to get up and make a fire? A lot of brothers don't even know how to make a fire from scratch. All right. Salakia. When? All right, a lot of brothers don't even know how to make a fire from scratch. You don't have no survival skills. You got a lot of brothers don't even know how to set up a tent. Right? You gotta look up on YouTube. And you're not gonna have your phone to look up how to set up your tent on YouTube. Right? That's not happening, man. A lot of men, you don't even know how to kill an animal correctly. You know how to slice his neck, drain the blood, hang it up, then skin it, get the meat, cook it. You don't know nothing. Why? Because you're not using the time that you have right now to take advantage of that, man. So we're going to be pilgrims upon the earth. Let's go to Luke chapter 4. Right? Let's go to the book of Luke, the 4th chapter. Right? It's the book of Luke chapter 4 and verse 1. It says, and Yahushua, being full of the Holy Ghost, returned from Jordan and was led by the Spirit into the wilderness. See that? So Yahushua, he was in the wilderness, man. Right? The Lord was led by the Spirit into the wilderness. You got a lot of men. Nah, I don't think that's really for me. Hey, when you go into it, you read this Bible, a lot of our forefathers, they was cool with being in the wilderness. They willingly drew themselves and to live like that mannerism. That's how man was in general. You have to be amongst the beasts, man. What are you gonna do if you have a raccoon and it's right outside your tent, just stalking you? A lot of men start screaming. You got women scared of snakes. You got certain women scared of spiders and bugs. Hey, well, it's out here, man. So you're not gonna have no choice. It's either suck it up, believe in the Most High that those things are not gonna harm you, and you gotta keep it pushing, man. So you have to adapt yourself to be mentally fit for the battle, man. Mentally be fit for this. All right. So Yahushua, he was in the wilderness. Right. Let me see if I can get this precept. I believe it's in the book of Mark. All right, that might be Luke. Let me see if I can get this precept. All right, bear with me. Say how it shows. I believe that's Mark. It said when it said Yahushua was amongst the beasts of the field. All right, that might be okay. Right, that's cool. Right, let's go to the book of 2nd Maccabees. Right, Most High willing that precept come back to me. Let's go back to 2nd Maccabees. Well, let's go to 2nd Maccabees, chapter 5 and 26. Right, let's go to the book of 2nd Maccabees, chapter 5, and verse number 26. This 2nd Maccabees, chapter 5 and 26, and it reads, it says, and when he slew all them that were going to the celebrating of the Sabbath and running through the city with weapons, slew great multitudes. Right, so because you had the Greeks, they were trying to kill our forefathers on the Sabbath day because they knew we wasn't going to fight back, right? So this is what Judas Maccabees did, right? 2nd Maccabees 5:27, it says, but Judas Maccabeus with 9 others, or thereabout, withdrew himself into the wilderness. So Judas Maccabees, he willingly withdrew himself into the wilderness. But the time is coming where you're gonna be in the wilderness, man. You're gonna be in the same position as Judas Maccabees, man. Now you think Judas Maccabees was scared? He was fearful. He was scared of the creatures, scared of the foxes. No, hey, he had to do what he had to do, man. He withdrew himself into the wilderness. He wasn't on his phone all day. He wasn't watching down Brave Wilderness on YouTube, seeing how he get bit by different animals. He was actually living it, man. He was in this thing. So as an Israelite, you have to get in this thing, especially with the days that are approaching. If you got to learn certain survival skills, and the Lord said in Sirach 5:15, be not ignorant in any matter, whether small or great, paraphrasing. So although it's not biblical, you still don't want to reject knowledge because it's not biblical. You got certain men, no, that's not in the Bible. I'm not dealing with that. You're trying to teach your brother how to properly kill an animal so he could drain the blood out of it. But he talking about, no, that's not in the Bible. You got to show me that where that's in there. Well, that brother, he gonna kill an animal, then he gonna damn roast it all alive, and it's still gonna get the blood. The blood is still gonna be in there, and the Most High is gonna destroy him. So although it's not biblical knowledge, all of the time, you still want to be able to know certain things, man. You want to be able to how to start a fire, even if it's just rained already. These certain things you have to use to your advantage, man. So I'm gonna read that again. It says, Salakia. It says 2nd Maccabees 5:27, but Judas Maccabees with 9 others, or thereabout, withdrew himself into the wilderness and lived in the mountains after the manners of beasts. So you have to ask yourself, are you prepared to live in the mountains like the beasts are, man? Where's mountain lions at? Right? Where's different creatures? Hey, Judas Maccabees, he was with the beasts of the field. It says with his company, who fed on herbs continually, lest they should be partakers of the pollution. And they was feeding on herbs, man. All right. So let me get this precept, right? In Genesis chapter 28. So we have to arm ourselves in the same mindset, right? So Salakia for the wind. It's definitely windy out here. But this Genesis chapter 28 and verse number 18. It says, and Jacob rose up early in the morning and took the stone that he had for his pillows and set it up for a pillar and poured oil upon the top of it. So, hey, Jacob didn't have a pillow, man. A lot of men, you go home, you sit back like this. You got 5 pillows. They all fluffy. Hey, Jacob didn't have a pillow. When Jacob was out there, guess what was his pillow? He had a stone. He had a rock for his pillow, man. Imagine you having a rock for your pillow. A lot of women, you will be murmuring and complaining. Why I ain't get this? Why I gotta sleep with this rock as my pillow? And you say that in the wilderness, you're gonna be destroyed, man. Right? The Most High is gonna get up with you. You gotta be grateful that you have something to even lay your head on, man, and not the ground. Hey, Jacob, he had to do what he had to do. Now, a lot of them times, our forefathers, they was naturally, back then, their bodies was different. A lot of things that man needs now, which he really don't need, our forefathers didn't care for that. So if Jacob was modern day, if Jacob came back in 2022 right now, hey, Jacob wouldn't even care for a pillow. He'll probably still use his stone. That's what he used to, right? But we've been so conditioned in this society and dumbed down so much through the technology and the different resource we have now, our minds is completely strayed away from how we used to think in the East, man. That Western mindset has got a hold of us. But again, that's what the Feast of Tabernacles is for. You're supposed to come out here and remember all of the works beforehand, right? All of the works beforehand and put yourself firsthand in the wilderness. And you have to see if you have enough faith, man. Right? I was meditating on this earlier. I said, man, my faith needs to increase, man. Because if you don't have any faith being out here in the woods, I mean, it's only a matter of time. You're going to be you got certain men, they paranoid. Them looking around. They hear one thing move, they looking around. What's that? Right? And it was a damn leaf just falling from a tree, brother. Right? Got women, she in her tent, she bundled up, she don't want to come out. She's scared. Well, guess what? You need to build up your faith so you can be prepared for the times to come, man. Because, we say this a lot, but the man that survived Jacob's trouble, that's not going to be the man with the most knowledge. That's not going to be the man with the most wisdom, with the breakdowns, right? How many Edomites that he cut up? How many scoffers he cut up? No, the man and women that survived Jacob's trouble, that's going to be the man and woman with the most faith in the Most High. Let's go to Luke chapter 17, right? Let's go to the book of Luke, the 17th chapter. Hey, when you out here in the wilderness, you might not even eat for a couple days. You know how hard it is to get some food every single day? The men that's out there, they even tell you it's not a guarantee that you're going to eat every single day. One day you might catch a fish. If a man, for brothers and sisters that ever went fishing, you know 100% of the time, unless it's heavy populated lake with fishing, you're not going to catch a fish every time. You might catch a fish one day, one fish for the whole day. Then one day you might get 8 fish. Then the next day you might get no fish. You have to know which berries you can eat, because a lot of berries is poisonous. You have to know all of this thing. You have to know, man. Because if you don't, you have to know the dietary law. Which animals can you have certain brothers, they gonna be eating squirrels. Oh yeah, I thought that was clean. Well, brother, you knew better. You knew it wasn't clean. You wanted to make an excuse, or you wasn't in the spirit. So these different things you have to know, but you have to be able to build up your faith to be able to be on that level, man. Right? It's the book of Luke. Let's go to it. It's the book of Luke, chapter 17. It's the book of Luke, chapter 17, and verse number 5. And the apostles said unto the Lord, increase our faith, man. And that's what you have to do. You have to increase your faith. I was meditating earlier because, like I said, we seen some coyotes. I believe we seen a deer. It wasn't a lot of deer where we was at. But I was talking to this brother. I said, what would you do if you just seen a lion pop up out of nowhere? Hey, now, we talking about it. Yeah, we joking. But what are you going to do, man? What if you and your kids and your children, you in the wilderness, you seen that lion pop up? It's looking at you. It's one-on-one. Because the Lord said, well, let me get that precept real fast. It's 2 Esdras 5 and 8. Right? The Lord said the wild beasts, they're going to change their place, man. Right? Let's go to the book of let's go to the book of 2 Esdras, chapter 5 and 8. This 2 Esdras 5 and 8. There shall be a confusion also in many places, and the fire shall be oft sent out again, and the wild beasts shall change their places, and mistress women shall bring forth monsters. What does it mean by the wild beasts? They're going to change their places. It's a lot of wild beasts that in certain regions, they're not heavily populated. So all those beasts, nobody has seen well, I don't know where you at, but 9 times out of 10, if you living in California on the West Coast, in the Bay Area, you're not going to see a damn silverback gorilla just walking around, right? If you in Chicago, you're not going to see a silverback gorilla or a jaguar or a tiger just roaming around. No, those animals, they're not populated heavily in that region, how a tiger is heavily populated in Asia. But what's going to happen? when it's earth change, the wild beasts, they gonna start to change their place, man. So in the days of Jacob's trouble, and you might see a gorilla, man. You might see a rhinoceros. You might see a tiger. All right. These different creatures you actually might encounter. Why? Because the wild beasts, they're gonna change their places, pursuing a second Ezra chapter 5 and 8. Now, are you prepared for that? Again, what if you just see a lion, you looking at it one-on-one? Now, the man, his first instinct is to run. But you have to think, you have children with you. You have your wife with you. If you run, a lion can run up to 40 miles per hour, man. All right? That lion is going to be one of your little ones. But a lot of people don't know that. And if you run away, those cats, they're predatory. So the moment you turn their back to those type of animals, they're gonna hunt you. You basically asking to be eaten. So the wisest thing to do in that situation, you will have to face it. I mean, you will have to just face it. Because you can't, if you run, you're you're gonna get hunted down, you're gonna be killed. All right? The first thing, a man in the spirit, he might say, I'm calling upon the name of the Most High, then I might have to do what I have to do. Let's go to 1 Samuel chapter 17. Again, the average man, he'll run. But even these zoologists, they would tell you cannot run from these predatory cats because you're making yourself an easy target for them. They like when you run. That's why you see certain instances when you face a lion, it might stop. But the moment you turn your back, it starts creeping up. Then you turn back, then they stop. Then you look back, then they keep creeping up till they tack you down, man. But Jake, if you always on Netflix and you always on your phone for the wrong reasons, trying to text that Eve, how are you going to know this stuff? Let's go to 1 Samuel chapter 17. Right? Let's go to the book of 1 Samuel chapter 17. It's the book of 1 Samuel chapter 17 and verse number 33. I'm going to start at 32. 1 Samuel 17 and 32. And David said to Saul, let no man's heart fail because of him. Thy servant will go and fight with this Philistine. Right? Talking about David and Goliath. And Saul said to David, thou art not able to go against this Philistine to fight with him, for thou art but a youth, and he a man of war from his youth. So Saul said, David, what the hell do you think? You're not finna fight this Goliath. You a little one. Right? What Jake say now? You too little. You a little boy. That's what Saul told King David, man. He said, nah, you're not fighting. You too little, man. That's what David said. And I might be you in the spirit. You might be a little one or a youth in the spirit, man. All right? Might not have certain knowledge of certain things. Your faith might be your youth. These different things, they might be on a low level. Verse 34, and David said unto Saul, thy servant kept his father's sheep, and there came a lion and a bear and took a lamb out of the flock. So David said, hey, one day, Saul, I was with my sheep. We was keeping it. And a damn lion and the bear, they came out and they took it out. They took one of the lambs. Right? This is what David said he did. And I went out after him and smote him and delivered it out of his mouth. So, hey, David said he smote a bear, man. Hey, bears in the ancient world, they not how they are today. Things have waxed in youth. Nevertheless, the bears now, hey, a bear might stand up. That's like 8 feet in itself, man. A bear is quick too, man. Especially mother bears, they quick. They're real strong creatures. Hey, David had to do what he had to do. Now I'm led to believe David, if David didn't have faith in the Most High, he wouldn't be able to do that, man. But David said he smote a bear. It says what? And went and delivered it out of his mouth. And when he arose against me, I caught him by his beard and smote him and slew him. Thy servant slew both the lion and the bear, and this uncircumcised Philistine shall be as one of them, seeing he hath defiled the armies of the living God. See that? So David said he caught the lion by his mane, and he damn slew him, man. And David was strong. David bent steel. Hey, men in the ancient world, they were apt for that. You think Jake that's on the block, that's gambling, he's shooting dice, right? He talking about, let me get that back, right? He's shooting dice. He damn selling weed. If you think if he was encounter a bear, you think he would survive that? No, he's not gonna survive. You think Eve that's being a harlot, that's being lukewarm, not being on fire, she's gonna survive that? No, that's gonna be set up so where you get destroyed by that lion. But a man that believes in the Most High and that has wisdom, knowledge, and understanding, he's gonna see that. He's gonna know, well, dang, I can't even really run away. I got my children with him. He might pull out his sword he got with him, and he might go to work because he believe in the Most High, man. He calling upon the name of the Most High because he has faith. And you never know, these beasts, and the Most High could put the spirit on the beast and have them act a different certain way so they're not even trying to target you. Because who controlling the beast? The Lord controlling the beast. These beasts have spirits. Let's go to, let me get that quick precept in Ecclesiastes. Right? Let's go to the book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 3. Right? This Ecclesiastes chapter 3 and verse number 21. Who knoweth the spirit of man that goeth upward, and the spirit of the beast that goeth downward to the earth? So beasts have spirits, man. The Lord could change the spirit of a beast, and it doesn't even look at you as meat. That's how the Most High could work, man. But you have to believe. You have to have faith. You have to be prepared. How do you be prepared? By stocking up on your faith, man. Stocking up on the knowledge, the wisdom, the understanding. Increasing in the fear of the Most High. So when that day does come, you actually gonna believe that the Most High is with you. Right? Let's go to the book of Isaiah, chapter 33. Right? Let's go to the book of Isaiah, chapter 33, the classic. Right? It's the book of Isaiah, chapter 33, and verse number 6. Right? It's the book of Isaiah, chapter 33 and 6. It says, "And wisdom and knowledge shall be the stability of thy times." I'm gonna read that again. "And wisdom and knowledge shall be the stability of thy times." What does it mean by wisdom and knowledge is gonna be the stability of thy times? Meaning in the times to come, the way you're gonna be able to have a sound mind and be calm and not panic is by the wisdom and knowledge that the Most High has gave you. So wisdom and knowledge, the things you know, that's going to be able to preserve you in the times to come, man. And it's a plethora of things you have to be able to know, especially when you're amongst the wilderness. So this should have you want to increase your faith in the Most High so he can be able to guide you through these evil times. It says what? "And strength of salvation, the fear of the Lord is his treasure." When it's all said and done, that's what really matters, man. Wisdom and knowledge, the fear of the Most High. Those are going to keep you and preserve you from the times. How are they going to preserve you from the times when you don't even want to apply yourself to know these things? Again, when you're lukewarm. Again, we said you got certain brothers and sisters, they take in the Feast of Tabernacles as a game, as a joke, man. And it's something you could just freak. It's just a vacation trip. You could just freak off on it. No, you have to get your mind right, man. Because if you don't get your mind right, ultimately, this is going to be your downfall. This is going to be your ruin. Because the time that the Most High gave you to be able to increase that, you took this as this was a game. A lot of people, when the times come, they going to be in for a rude awakening, man. Why? Because they not tough enough. Whether that's physically, mentally, spiritually. You have to be apt in all aspects when you're amongst the wilderness, man. And meditating on that, the Feast of Tabernacles, and how these things operate, that should put you into the spirit to be able to want to think about those things, man. All right? So brothers and sisters, keep that in mind Why you having a beautiful Feast of Tabernacles? Yes, you want to eat, drink, and be merry, of course. Nevertheless, you want to think about the different aspects of the Feast of Tabernacles and how that could play a role in your life and into the days to come. All right, but with that, I want to give all honor and glory to the Most High Yahweh. Most High willing, this video was edifying. Continue to read, pray, fast, study, and most importantly, beseech the Heavenly Father for his mercy. And with that, I'm going to say shalom.